at the IPC Apex 2025 show, and we have my friend Debbie Carboni from KYZEN on. And I'm so glad you're here because there is a product that
she's actually all of our friends.
No, mine first.
No,
so there's a product that they're unveiling, and it's a literal game changer. When you see the results that you get from an underside isopropyl wipe versus the new KYZEN chemical, right?
Yes.
It is amazing, and I don't know, maybe in post we can put up a graphic of what the results are like, right? Like, because it is mind-blowing when I seen that. What actually isopropyl breaks stuff down into, right? And the paste differences, right? So,
oh yes.
I know you gave a presentation yesterday. If you could just kind of talk about that a little bit.
So it actually all started when I asked a question. Sean, you and I have talked about contact time and cleaning and how important it is, right? Well, in the printing process, it turns out very few people actually think about it. It's usually an afterthought. So I had asked Ed Noss, I asked him, so how much time does the solvent in your printer actually have in contact with your stencil? You guys want to guess?
2 seconds? 3 seconds?
8, 10.
10? Any guesses?
I'll say 5.
Okay, you're all wrong. You're closest. It's actually less than a second. That's with the default parameters. Now, keep in mind, those default parameters were developed 25, 30 years ago, and that was back
And nothing's
when...
changed.
No, nothing has changed at all.
Temperature sizes are the same.
No. Solder pastes haven't changed. And I'm going to tell you a secret, probably shouldn't admit to this, but, way back when somebody asked for an under stencil solvent, we just threw something that we were using to clean something else and repurposed it. There wasn't a lot of thought, and there certainly wasn't a lot of engineering or data-driven decisions on that. A lot has changed since then. This latest paper actually was taking it and saying, okay, what happens if we extend the amount of contact time we have on that printer? What if we were to also increase the amount of solvent that you have on the wipe as well? And what we actually did was take your default settings and increase the solvent by almost 2x, and we increased the time by almost 4x. And the results of that, it's night and day difference. They say a picture tells 1,000 words.
Yeah. Sure.
Let me tell you, a picture tells 1,000 words. But for those engineers, in God we trust, and for everything else bring data. There's a lot of truth in that.
Yeah.
So we did actually validate it with SPI data. But the reality is a lot of the preconceptions and the tribal knowledge that we've been setting up our printers with for years, a lot of that's going out of the way.
And visually too, like the UV tracer you guys use.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, it's night and day.
It's so cool.
The old method versus the new one, right? Like, yeah.
Well, actually, you take IPA and you do something similar on that.
Right.
You actually see where it smears. And then my absolute favorite is the fact that you have a lot of people that will do five prints, do a dry wipe, another 5 prints, do a dry wipe, and then they'll do a solvent. What we learned, every time you do that dry wipe, it's kind of like taking and grabbing a towel, a dry towel, and trying to clean up
A cheese grater. Sure.
Kind of like a cheese grater is what it looks like afterwards. A little. But the reality is you're just smearing it on. IPA is similar. It just doesn't have very good properties with modern fluxes. So lots learned. I actually think there's a lot of new opportunity to learn more.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to some new adventures, and I want to see what it does with all kinds of different machines. And I want to look at what happens when you play with different papers too. We actually looked at one solvent. Let's see what some other solvents do too.
Yeah.
And it's so critical. I mean, I have a front row seat to conversations. Sometimes it's like the stencil stopped working. Like it worked great. We ran the first 10 boards last week, and now it's not working anymore. It's like, well, okay, let's look at what and you just a dirty stencil is not going to perform, right? So it's critical that you take good care of it and maintain it during its life cycle, and products like what you've described are going to do that. So they're our friends.
They are. And it turns out that there's not anything you can do downstream to fix it when you have defects on your printer.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Nothing.
That's true.
It
So.
sits in position 1, and any sins there have to be paid for elsewhere, right? I mean, it's
Yes, 100%.
So, Debbie, what besides the presentation you're able to give, what is Kaizen doing as far as solving problems for their customers? What are you bringing to the show that helps end users improve their game?
Well, so I often say I solve puzzles every day.
Uh-huh.
Not solve problems, but I fix. It's the same thing.
Sure.
I'm figuring out the puzzle and where the pieces all go.
Yeah.
A lot of that really has to do with creating a process stability.
Uh-huh.
A lot of times people don't realize that the machines that you guys are operating from start to finish, they all have repeatability capabilities built into them.
Yep.
Well, we're the chemistry guys. We're very fluid. No pun intended. Okay, it is. So the reality is it needs to have process stability built into it too.
Yeah.
Because we're so familiar with the chemistry, we actually build a concentration monitoring and controlling device. You can have it just monitor your process so that you're making sure that process is very stable throughout. If you can keep your process stable, then you can have the repeatability, and it'll give you an alarm when your chemistry is very low in concentration. It will identify before you have a foaming issue where it's coming out of the machine. All these fun things. It's a kind of an important thing. A lot more people are actually starting to automate, especially in 2025. It's time to start automating the whole entire process. And what people don't always understand or appreciate is that the cleaning process is very dynamic. There's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
You've got material that's lost through drag out, whether it's between cycles in a batch machine, but then you also have material that goes up the exhaust stack, and those go up at different rates. So you have to be able to balance that and keep that process in control so that once you've done the work to qualify it, that you're getting those same results, day 365 as you did day 1.
Yeah, and I'm gonna do a shameless plug here for you.
Why, thank you.
It's Kaizen in general, right? Like, so I switched different chemicals in my machine now 3 times, and you guys were the only ones who had a clean out procedure to follow prior to putting on the new chemical. Now that might sound crazy to you, and in hindsight, I swear, in hindsight, like, it does sound crazy that the other ones didn't tell me how to remove the previous stuff, right? The residual, and how to clean the tank and stuff like that. So it thank you guys for that. It was very helpful, and it was a special chemical for rinse, clean out, and stuff like that. And that's just huge, and it's very appreciative. And I can tell you that the cleaner we're using, don't know the numbers of it, but I'm telling you the boards are coming out beautiful looking.
Awesome.
So thank you for that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. They take care of the
Appreciate it.
numbers.
Yeah.
They figure it
We
out.
got lots
for
of
you.
numbers.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No. I think one of the things that you learn is chemistry is all about chemical reactions, and you want to make sure that you know what to expect, and when you start from a clean slate, that's where you want to be.
Yeah. Yeah, and we felt a lot more confident in the clean out procedure as opposed to what we were doing prior. Like, Phil even told me about this pump I should get, and I got the pump, and now it's like, drain it out. And because we were taking one of those little, we were a circuit board shop. We made stuff work. We were doing those little hand pumps from Harbor Freight that are electric, and we pump it out into a barrel, and then pump that into a barrel, and then there's a whole thing, right? Now we have a pump that goes straight to it, and you can get to the bottom of the tank and rinse it out. But that was all like, you guys walked our hands through those steps.
They did the same thing for us.
Did they?
Yeah, when we got our cleaning systems established, like, they were extremely instrumental. You guys dropped so much product knowledge on us and helped us set up our machines, our processes, and Ethan's been through multiple times to help out. Like, he's great. So everyone.
Appreciate that feedback.
All of our experiences with Kaizen have been positive. So, including this, we're very grateful to you for joining us on this podcast and
thanks for having
spending
me.
some time with us and sharing what Kaizen does. So,
I'll
thank you,
give you a
Debbie.
tagline.
Oh, please.
You said you didn't solve problems. Do you solvent problems?
Ooh, I like this.
There you go.
We solvent problems. I like it. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us, Debbie.
Thank
Yeah,
you so much
thank
for
you.
having me.